no face. Hey guys, Omar here, and today I'm going to talk about softening your flash if you're shooting event or reception photography. The best ways to soften your flash. Now, how you soften your flash as an event photographer totally depends on 1,000 factors. How much time you have with the couple or before the reception starts, the room, how mobile you need to be. So there's a lot of factors that you need to calculate as an event photographer on how to soften your flash. And a lot of times it's like on the fly decision. So if I have a lot of time and a lot of control of the situation, I like to take the flash off the camera and put a remote on my camera and actually shoot the flash in some sort of modifier. So the number one way to soften your flash is to get it off the camera and put it in a relatively large modifier. Now, the size of the modifier will depend how soft the light is. So if you have a larger modifier and you put it really close to your subject, it'll actually be softer on their face. If you have that same modifier, by the way, and you pull it away from them, if you move further away, that kind of makes the light a little smaller. And the smaller the light, the harsher it is. That may be the look you're going for, but a lot of times, my clients and people like to look a little bit more flattering, and that usually means getting the light nice and close to them. Now, the second way you can soften your light, if it's not in a modifier, is you can put your flash on a light stand, totally exposed like this, and have it pointed to a white ceiling or a white wall. And you can turn the power up and you can shoot and you can light up the whole room, which is another option. Now, sometimes these flashes, this is a Godox 862. This has a lithium battery, and this guy has good recycle times. So if your ISOs are a little higher, then you can get this guy, to shoot 16th power, 8th power to light up a smaller room. But if I'm using that technique to bounce a flash off a white tent or a white wall, I actually prefer the AD200. That gives a little bit more power and gives a little bit more recycle time. Now, the only problem with this is you're kind of killing the ambience, the ambiance in the room, kind of like here. You see how I have this cool little something going on? If I were to light up this whole room with flash, then I would kill that pink light back there. And some people in a reception pay a lot of money for the decor and ambiance. So blasting the home room with light is not something I advise. You kind of want to keep the color of the room alive. Which brings us to the third situation, which means your flash is now on the camera. And when your flash is on the camera, you have to decide how you want to soften it. You can point it at people, but you're going to get a little bit of a harsh light. I only do this if I'm going for that sort of clubby, like if there's motion if I shoot in a slow shutter speed, I'll light up people almost like a spotlight. And that is a cool effect if you want to do that. But to shoot like that the whole night, unless that's your style, is not advisable because people will be looking at this flash here. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Imagine that all night. They're going to hate you. So what you want to do, the first thing I did when I first started was I would shoot the flash straight up and I would just pick up this little card. Oh, look, it broke. Oh gosh, put it back in. Nothing to see here. I would lift up this little card that comes with the flash, and this bounces off the ceiling, and this little card would push some light forward. And this totally works. The only problem with this is that the flash light is actually going straight up and then coming straight down. So what happens is the light sort of, you get kind of raccoon eyes because the light's coming back down on the person. The other thing is this little card is a piece of junk. So a lot of people put some kind of modifier on top, like a dome or some kind of there's one called a Gary Fong dome. This is a mag sphere. Putting a dome on the flash will soften the light a little bit because some of it will bounce, in the room. It'll hit the ceiling. It'll go forward. So that's one option. I don't use a dome when I shoot my event work because I don't like the flash going everywhere and I can't control it. So this is kind of not one of my favorite ways, but you can experiment to see what works for you. Now, if you are shooting indoors and the ceilings are not white and the walls are not white, so they painted the room black for some reason, it's a club, then you cannot really bounce light up with a dome. You can still use the dome, by the way, if the ceilings are black, because the dome will light up and light up your subjects. But I find that the bigger the light, the softer the light. So what I use is oh man, they always get stuck together like this. I first started using a small one like this. This is a Rogue Flashbender. It's kind of like a bounce card. And you see how it's already bigger than the Domi Dome? If you get close to your subject and you use one of these, this one will be a little softer, even though these all are terrible. So I actually use a Rogue Flashbender like so. This is the large. This is ideal if the ceilings are black and the walls are black, or if you're shooting outdoors. Now the cool thing about the Flashbender is that anyone behind you won't get any light in their face, and all the light is pretty much forward. And you can actually bend it back if you want a softer effect, and you can actually bend it forward if you want to push some of the light even further. So the Flashbender, you kind of become a Flashbender guru where you're blocking light and you're moving it and all that kind of stuff. So this is not for everyone, but I definitely like the effect I get with this for reception and dance and party photos, especially when I use a wide lens. If you get very close to your subject, you can sort of even out the ambiance in the back with exposing them with a little bit of kiss of light. Now the key with the Flashbender is to not light up the person like lighting them up. You really want to keep your ISOs nice and high. Now I did a video, here's a plug for another video, on how to expose during event and reception and club photography. And I didn't really discuss this in that video, but if your ISOs are nice and high, you can just give a little kiss of flash to light up the person just a little bit, and then you can even out the exposures of the flash and the cameras, picking up the background. Hey guys, Omar from the future here. I forgot to mention that don't underestimate the importance of editing your reception photos. I was going through some of the photos and I realized that in some of the more challenging situations, I kind of give a kiss of light to the skin, but also you can use tricks to bring the room back. You can paint in some of the room with like a brush in Lightroom. So don't think that just the flash is doing everything. Post-processing is important too. Now back to you, Omar. Now this is cool and it gives you a cool look during dance reception, but if someone's giving a speech or if there's a first dance or you want people to look nice and soft, then that's not ideal. So the best way is definitely going back to the bounce, but bouncing it a specific way. Now, if you take your flashy flash like this and actually turn it around and put it at an angle behind you, now you gotta be careful. It can't be too high because then again, the flash will go up and then come down and people will have raccoon eyes. You want it to go back and right. So it goes boom, hits a wall or ceiling and comes back down and touches your soul. That is the softest and nicest light during an event. Now, it's a balance between sort of killing the ambiance and sort of lighting up the person. So you're on a tightrope of how much flash to use as a little kiss without killing too much of the room. So this is different than what we said before where your flash is kaboom, lighting up the whole room. This is not doing that, okay? This is just a little kiss. Now this thing on my flash is the black foamy thing. The black foamy thing is a technique I picked up from Neil Venikirk. I'll link him up below, but I saw a video of him about this black foamy thing on YouTube, and I was sold right away. I'm selling these, by the way, for $59.99. Now, if you're shooting flash without a black foamy thing, just think about it. That light takes off, goes towards the wall, but a lot of it goes forward. This ugly light goes towards your client. Okay, also gets in your face too. So the black foamy thing blocks that unwanted light from going forward. It also, when you're shooting with bounce flash behind you, it also will, if you pick it up a little bit more, noises, making it a little bigger like this. You know, like I'm giving a little bit more lip on there. That will prevent the flash, anyone from seeing the flash behind you, which is kind of cool too. Now remember, same rules apply. Don't point that flash straight up on the ceiling so it could come down and you get raccoon eyes. You can bounce light behind you, yay, white wall. But the great thing about the black foamy thing is you can now bounce light to the right of you, and you get some cool side light without any ugly light hitting your client. And this is the best way to bounce flash in a room that has white walls. Now, if the room doesn't have white walls, beige, a bluish gray, I recommend taking a photo of a gray card or something white so that later you can color correct for the wall bouncage. All right, hope that was helpful for you guys. I'll see you next time.